Good day, welcome to Warm Bait One Day. We're here with your host, Steve Holt, and we're going to take care of business today. Before we get on to another experiment, I kind of want to do another articles review. I want to talk a little bit about the dating app, statistics related to it, and kind of expectations. We're mainly going to today be sticking more on the expectations of women. We will go into men and some statistics regarding that as well, though, but mainly on the women. So let's get started. Just do me a favor, fellas. Don't get too excited. And let's get psyched. And let's get this rolling. So we'll start here. Okay, our first article we're going to review is on yourtango.com, and it is an article written on March of 2018. Okay, so not modern, 4 years old, but we're mentioning it for a reason. Article states, women find 80% of men unattractive, says crazy study. Well, obviously the study's got to be crazy if it, claims that of women, because women are acceptive of so many things. They wouldn't exclude 80% of men and only deal with 20% of them. Come on. Let's go down and review. Okay. Article was written by Christine, so we are getting a woman's perspective on this. That's kind of nice. Women are often thought of as picky. Maybe there's a reason that thought exists, especially where men are concerned. Some single women are known to have a list of characteristics that their ideal man must possess, like great abs, a sense of humor, a six-figure income, and a nice car. When a woman meets a potential mate, she has to decide which of these traits are deal breakers and which she can let go. Alright, I got a little personal story on this one. I'll never forget this. It was kind of like my first experience with women and their expectations, and it happened when I was in college. And I was talking to a friend, and he was seeing somebody at the time, and his girlfriend had a friend that was looking for somebody. And he's talking to me about her, and this is her degree. This is kind of like what she's about. Here's some of her interests. Oh, okay. You're willing to hear it out. Whatever. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody. What's up? Well, then he starts going down her list. He's got to be 6'4". He's got to have blue eyes. He's got to own a golden retriever. He's got to, out of college, right away be making 6 digits. He's got to have a nice car. He's got to be motivated. Oh, he's also got to be ripped. Preferably know at least 2 languages. Tattoos. Tattoos are a plus. The whole kit and caboodle. And I'm not kidding with that list. These are things on this woman's list. And I instantly laughed and dismissed it because that's crazy. It's most people's list is, hey, just someone I'm physically attracted to, decent person. Maybe if it's a woman looking for a man, someone that does have somewhat of an income that can, support if she wants to be a homemaker, things like that. Regardless, that was kind of my first, wow, women are picky. And this is a while ago in my life. Well, let's fast forward to 2018, and 80% of men are unattractive to women, so back to this. Here's a chart from OkCupid that shows how women basically see men. And this is the least attractive of men, very high percentage. So basically men that rate a 0 out of 5, they see it over 25%. And then over 30% are a 1. So already nearly 60% of men rank as a 0 or 1 out of a scale to 5. That's pretty pathetic, because average, most men should be average. We should have a bell curve that kind of, this is the message rate here, this blue line, as we see here. Women don't message, obviously, the guys that are zeros and ones as much, but they will send out messages more so to guys that are at least medium attractiveness and so on. And then you'll see it's above, actually from, looks like 2, right in the 2 range on. They send out more messages than how they receive them generally. But they'll still even message guys that they see it as 0, which is interesting. Maybe just to see their response, to toy with them, who knows. But if the woman sees that guy as a 0, there's no way in hell that she's going to be really interested in him, especially not romantically. I mean, if you look at a guy, you're like, oh, that's like the least attractive guy I've ever seen. It's not going to happen, so I don't know why you'd almost bother sending a message. So OkCupid had this study and got these statistics together, and this is in 2018, so 80%. Let's fast forward just a little bit here. And here we are. Oh. No, that is the graph, sorry. So here's that female graph again from OkCupid and their studies. And here's the male graph. They tend to actually follow the bell curve of what's average. They see most women as average. And then as you get to least attractive, look, it's a perfect distribution actually, right above 5% on each side of the scale of most attractive to least attractive. Let's go back to women real quick and see, oh, I'm sorry, that's the message rate. And this line here, women found 55% of men to be a 0 or a 1 out of a scale of 5. Men found 0, 1, it's about 15, 5, about 20%. Yeah, 1 out of 5 is 20%. So that follows the distribution quite nicely. So men and how they see the female population in this 2018 study done by OkCupid, men kind of see average for average, very attractive for very attractive, and least attractive for least attractive. Women just dismiss 80% of men as below average, which below average would just be 50%. So a lot more men are excluded, even though they should be up there by these women. So women are a little bit picky on that. But let's go back to kind of what women expect, some of the things. Great abs, sense of humor, 6-figure income, all that great stuff. Let's touch on some more stats here. Okay, this is from niddk.gov, and this is showing, this is in 2018 just to relate to the article, but this is showing overweight and obesity rates in America. This does men and women, so we'll kind of review both. But you'll see here, overweight men, 30%, or I'm sorry, that's men and women. Overweight men's actually 34%, more than 1 out of 3 adult men are overweight, U.S. adults, and over 1 out of 4 women are overweight. Obesity is pitiful for both. It's 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 for men, 2 out of 5 for women are obese. That being the case, that includes severe obesity. Good. Okay. So if you have 34.1% of men to 43, that's 77.1% of American men are overweight or obese. And then you would have 0.5, 42, 27.4, should be able to do that, 69.4. So nearly 70%. So I'll round up, what was it, 70, no, 77. So over 3/4, and with women it's about 7 out of 10 are either overweight or obese. So these women want these guys with these 6-packs, these big incomes and things like that, but we're not even getting into the, peak of physical fitness we're just talking not being overweight. And when it comes to America, it does look like the fellas are slacking a little bit more, but the women ain't doing too hot either. And in terms of severe obesity, women are nearly doubled that of what men are. This is in 2018. I'm sure things are honestly worse now. So, alright, already we're trying to look for a guy that's fit. So that would be defined as, I would say, not overweight. So we're only at 25%. So, alright, only 25% of men are not overweight. You know, he's got to be in good shape. Alright, what's another thing we're going to look for? Great abs, sense of humor. That's up to the individual. You can have dark sense, you can have things like that. Overweight is something that, based on BMI, you can generally tell someone, so we're going to skip sense of humor. 6-figure income and a nice car. He's got to make good money so he can afford that car and a nice house. So let's take a look here at what percentage of men in the United States make 6 figures. This is in 2019, and this, I won't say that this study here is accurate because it was Yahoo Finance basically asking, hey, do you make more than 6 figures? The individual would answer yes or no. That was it. That is something I could see guys fibbing about, but we'll take these statistics, even at a higher value, which they probably are, for what it is. So, what percentage of men make over $100,000? And according to this study, about 13%. 13% of men. So we have only 1 out of 4 men that aren't overweight, and we have about only 1 out of 10 that make this six-digit men. You know, some women want 250K plus, million plus. We're just cross that line, 100,000. So we got 25% on the weight. And then we have 13% on the money. Okay. So already we're kind of hurting. So if we're just concerned about somebody's weight... Oh, I don't know how that got... I must have had a calculation in there before. So we take 25% times 13%. That percentage of men that you're looking for, just based on being in shape, which I'll define as not overweight. I'm not even talking rips, six-pack, arms, whatever. With a 6-digit income, we're looking at 3.25%. It's not counting sense of humor. That's not counting if they have blue eyes. That's not counting height. That's another big one for the women. Height. That's not in this. So we're going to have to touch on that one. Okay. So for height, we got this graph here. Usually women, the joke is 6 figures, 6-pack, 6 foot. So let's do 6 foot on that regard. Let's say this woman's looking for a guy that's not overweight, 6 digits, over 6 foot. 6 foot or over. Okay. So we're already at 3.25%. Taking into account the overweight and the amount of money. Let's take into height. So in this study here, if you take 100 American men, you have about 7 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1. So 7 and 6, 13, 4, 17, 3 is 20. So 21%. Actually, that's more than I thought. I want to do this math as we go. But so 21% of men are 6 foot and over. That's still less than the minimum qualifications of physically fit, which I'm just saying is not overweight. So if we take that 3.25%, so we want to do it as a percentage, so we're going to do this, and then we're going to multiply that by 0.21, which is 21% of men being 6 foot and over, and then we're going to multiply that to get our percent. So if women are looking for a guy that's meeting the bare minimum requirements of physical fitness. He's making 6 digits. He's making that good money, so he's got that nice car. He's got the house in the suburbs and the white picket fence. And he's at least 6 foot tall. If those are your 3 must-haves, not counting anything else, women are looking at a less than 1% chance of that guy even existing. 0.6825%. And just because he exists doesn't mean he has to be interested in you ladies. So a very small percentage. Again, men over 6 feet US, I'm surprised it's over 21%. But the math doesn't lie. The math does not lie. So, let's get out of here. We want to review the other interesting statistics. We're talking about this article from 2018 that Christine reviews. And she explains kind of how women can be picky and things like that on these dating apps. So, let's take the modern times. Let's even talk real quick about 2014. Yeah, actually 2014, that follows the OkCupid data. It says only 14% women will swipe right on only 14. Women will attempt to initiate contact with 14% of men that they see on a dating app. This specific dating app was Tinder this was done on. Men will go around 50%. So if they consider you average or above, they'll hit you up. That's guys. Well, the times change. It's 2022. Now, men aren't being selective because they're getting desperate. They're not getting much. So instead of 46%, they're probably swiping right on 90%. Men's qualifications at this point is probably just if you have a pulse, I'm willing to talk to you. I'm willing to meet up. Women, though, have interestingly become more selective, swiping right on only 2 to 3% of total profiles. No longer 20%, 15%, 2 to 3%. So you've got to make enough of an impact, and Tinder's very photo-based. You just have your pictures. If anyone's ever used it, I'm sorry. If you haven't used it, I would recommend to not use it. Whether you're a man or a woman, because if you're a woman, you're being bombarded with messages. Anything you swipe, 90% of guys are interested in you. Where if you're a guy, only 2-3% of people total get swiped on. So if you're a guy that's even an 8 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, if you're a 5 out of 10, you're screwed. But even if you're these top-notch guys, chance you might not actually get swiped on. Chance you might get neglected. But that's how the dating apps are today, and the fact that the number of users on them keeps increasing, the fact that Tinder, and I think it's Match Corp, going to the S&P 500, they just apparently print money, which I'm surprised if Tinder's a horror show. But it doesn't have a verification, or it does have a verification process I'd love to crack, but my phone's too old. So we do have more experiments coming up actually with Bumble we will get into. But regardless, from a statistics perspective, women just based on looks will only swipe right on 2 to 3%. And if you don't meet those money requirements, any of those other requirements, you're going to get axed. That's it. You don't stand a chance. So, to help reinforce, we had an agent in the field that did us a big solid. and he got us this dating profile. This was from a dating platform called Hinge, like the door hinge. Of Bumble, Tinder, and Hinge, Hinge is the most interesting concept, but it's still a horse show. The math's still against you, fellas. And women, actually, because women are just getting overwhelmed. So, agent in the field was able to get this here. You can see here some of her things, which we'll blow this up later, but she's got a hell of a requirement here with 6'3 plus, so we'll figure that out. We'll do the math on that. But if you look at this woman, she's probably not going to be the prom queen. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but you kind of need to see things in your own spectrum. If you're an average person, you can't expect to bag a super fit, ripped billionaire. But hey. So, yeah, I mean, gosh, I think she's got arms bigger than me. Good Lord. Yeah. And then that even looks like a crown of some kind, like she's a princess. So you'll have to treat her like royalty, fellas, if you try to pick this one up. Good luck picking her up. Okay, so we have this woman, and we'll just say she's average. And these are just to show it's the same profile. She requests you leave a comment on her profile. Now keep in mind, she's 32, she's 5'9", and we've already seen what she looks like. She wants you to leave a comment if you're 6 foot 3 inches tall plus. So if you're 6'2", you're instantly axed. Okay, 32-year-old woman. We saw how she looks. You gotta be 6'3 plus. You gotta have a car. You gotta have no kids. You gotta love dogs. You must be motivational. I guess for yourself and her, maybe to get her to the gym. Get her away from the table. Are independent. We know what independent and motivated means.
Here comes the money.
It's absolutely what it means. She wants you to have fat stacks of cash. Love to goof around, so you got to be funny, and you're looking for something serious. Makes you ask, what does she really bring to the table? But we don't know. We just know what she wants, what she must have. All right, so let's do a little math. Men in the U.S. that are 6'3 plus, 4%. So just on her first qualification, her first must, she's axing 96% of men. So we got 4% on just your 6'3 plus. So have a car, motivational, and independent. We're going to rack that up and just sum it up as 6 digits. She wants you to have that money. So that comes in at 13%. So 4% times 13%. Love to goof around, looking for something serious. Let's not even take those into account. Let's do the have no kids. What percentage of men are childless? It'll probably show US. 17%, both figures. Oh, nuts. About 61% of men 15 and over are fathers. And of those, 72% have a biological child. Okay, so they're not using his biological father, because I was going to say 61, she's screwed. Shoot, I think I remember looking this. Let's say 50% around her age range. Let's do 30 to 40. There we go. That's what we need to search. So census.gov, 70% of men have no children. So in her age range, we'll use men 30 to 34. She's 32. I think that's fair. 45% of men are childless. So she's going to cut it down again. 45.6%. Okay, so for our math fellas, we're going to take 45.6%. So childless, you got to be 6'3" plus. That's only 4%. And you've got to be motivated. You've got to be independent. And you've got to have a nice car, if you recall. And we don't know what she class. Let's just assume 100% of men love to goof around, because I'd assume it's more than 50%. So let's just assume 100 for that. Okay. Shoot, I forget the math. My apologies. So 45.6% childless. 13% are independent and motivated and have a nice car. And then the biggest thing that's going to kill her, the 6'3" plus, that's 0.04. So to find that as a percent, we're going to multiply this by 100. So this woman here, with the man that she's looking for, with these criteria, is less than 0.25%. The statistics say that less than 1%, or 1 out of every 400 men, even meet her criteria, not counting dogs goofing around and looking for something serious. Only 1 out of 400. And out of those 400 guys that she might run through, meet, and there is that one that meets those qualifications, is he necessarily going to be interested in her? Or is he going to have other options? Because you have all these other women on your curve that are finding those guys actually attractive, that'll hit them up and send these messages on the blue line. They're giving them more messages than they believe there are. So if you're in that, you'd be a 5 out of 5 if you're I'd say 0.25%, at least a 4, if you met those qualifications. So yeah, and women see that as a very low percentage. And again, this graph is just based on looks. We're taking into account money, childlessness, and height for this particular one. I thank my agents in the field very much for their work and their continued assistance in helping me to provide laughs, humor, commentary, and statistics to the show. But that is it for today. I thank you for watching. Just remember, as any individual, don't get discouraged, don't get bogged down. We're all going to be worm bait one day, but make the best out of what it is and what you can do. And just stay off the goddamn dating apps. Don't feed into it. They're a waste of time. We might even cover that one after our next experiment video about how much time is put into those things with the little success rate. you probably still have much better chance going to a bar and just trying to pick someone up. And maybe that'll be another experiment after our next Bumble experiment phase. I guess I'll tell you the next phase of our experiment. So we ran Bumble's photo verification process with average guy to a male model, and we passed with flying colors. Next, we're going to try to match up that same male model, which we have, the pictures already saved, all that stuff, to a woman's face for verification to see if Bumble will still pass it. There's a shot. I'm going to leave it at 50-50 because maybe the automated and human responses will do their job, but I don't know. But stay off the dating apps, no matter who you are. There's much better ways, social groups, friends, to meet people, if that's what you're trying to do and you haven't already given up and kind of walked out. But stay away from the dating apps. Stay away from those unrealistic expectations. Don't do it, fellas. This is Worm Bait One Day. Signing off.